Hello, welcome to the Crownsmen Show, brought to you by Cranky Old Men, or done in partnership with Cranky Old Men Drinking Beer, and we've got the old man himself, Mr. Roy Slack. Welcome, Roy.
Yes, yeah, great to be here.
We've got one of the founding partners, one of two, myself being the other one, founder of Crownsmen Partners, Rory Bamford. Rory, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Yep. And I'm Jerrod
You
Downey.
are the Crownsmen.
Yeah. Really deep name that we have there.
Yeah,
So deep.
I figured it out.
Yeah. Some people ask us like how we came up with the name and stuff like that. And we go, because we were drinking Crown and there's a bunch of guys sitting around. Yeah.
I thought it had something to do with being a royal pain, but
Nope.
nope.
There you go.
No.
Your jokes are nice. I noticed in the last show, after you get the second taping we did, the second beer, your jokes get a little nastier, Roy.
Good to know.
Okay, we're gonna cover a lot. You both have topics. I've got some topics I wanted to discuss. I was actually thinking about just sort of each of our roles on the show before, like when we're doing the show, we sort of each. Well, there's lots of overlap, but we sort of bring something. You know, Rory, you kind of bring the wisdom. Rory, you love the numbers. And I was thinking I sort of need to bring like some inspiration to it. So I took some. Okay.
I didn't say a thing. It was Rory that started laughing.
We'll edit that out. I'll continue. So
it was an inspired laugh.
But I didn't want to just read off quotes. If you guys could let me finish, I didn't want to read off quotes. So I thought we're going to do a little game. It's going to be quick. I'm going to read off 4 quotes, and you need to guess. There's only 2. So one is Elon Musk, and one is Cardi B, and you have to decide which one.
Oh, my favorite
is an Elon quote, and which one is a Cardi B quote.
Do we each get one guess?
You each get one guess.
I think Elon is part of the U.S. administration now, isn't he?
He is the U.S. administration,
the
actually.
Dodge.
Yeah, he is the U.S. administration. That's breaking news right here on Crownsmen. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to read off the quotes here in no particular order. I'm known for proving people wrong. Remember that. Okay?
Cardi B.
Not Elon Musk.
Okay. Like, damn, I am competing against myself.
Okay, well, that's Cardi B.
I don't know. Elon, sure.
Elon.
There's no points for this, eh?
I don't know.
Need to have a beer.
Some people don't. Some guys, I got to get through my things here. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster.
Okay, before we pick Roy, let's get him to read the 4th.
That's a great quote.
Good idea.
Okay, I'll read the 4th. I'm going to encourage any type of...
You're making it so hard to pick right now.
I thought I could get through this one. Okay. I'm going to encourage any type of woman. You don't have to be a woman like me for me.
Did you pick these quotes yourself, Jerrod?
I'm sorry.
Because they are inspiring.
You don't... Okay, I got to get through this. You don't have to be a woman like me. I'm going to start again. I'm going to encourage any type of woman. You don't have to be a woman like me for me to encourage and support you and tell you. Before you got to stop. Yes, keep on going.
That is for sure Elon Musk. For sure. That's his favorite line.
So stupid. I'm sorry. I wasted our time.
Well, I'm certainly inspired.
That took me like 30 minutes to gather and choose those quotes.
Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, back
Rory,
to the
let's
quiz master.
You both lost. Rory, let's start with your I'm just going to get through this quote one more time. I'm going to encourage any type of woman. You don't have to be a woman like me for me to encourage and support you and tell you, yes, keep on going.
Oh, that's Cardi B.
That's Cardi B.
All over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Elon.
Oh, I got through it. Whew.
Let's talk about our Heavy Industry World Tour brought to you by Savona Equipment. Find, market, and sell surplus and used equipment. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsmen.com to be part of Crownsmen's Heavy Industry World Tour. Did you know cementitious binders can be responsible for up to 70% of the total GHG footprint of mine backfilling processes? Now you can replace up to 50% of the binder in your mine backfill operations with Graybond, Graymond's new low-carbon cementitious binder. This lime-based alternative binder maintains a 40 to 70% lower GHG footprint compared to typical cement and can adapt to varying mine conditions without compromising performance. Learn more about Graybond at graybond.com. Join us in the depths of the mining world, where global leaders and industry giants converge to shape the future of mining. From groundbreaking technologies, advanced machinery, revolutionary safety measures, to sustainable initiatives. This is the voice of mining. This is Mining Now. Showcase your company to millions worldwide. Book your episode now. Visit crownsmen.com.
Rory, what are you
nutshell.
Rory, what are we drinking for beer today? And then we'll get into Rory's opening topic.
This is a Steamworks out of Vancouver.
Woo!
A great pub right on the waterfront there. If you're in Vancouver, visit. We're not getting we're not getting paid to do this, but it is a great place. And this is a Kölsch, which is a German golden ale. And the term Kölsch, it refers to beers that were brewed in or near Cologne in Germany. So that's the origin. And the amulet above the O is supposed to signify that this was brewed under the Kölsch Convention, which means it was brewed in Germany. But often brewers will put a Kölsch style, or this one is a Kölsch Lagered ale, which I think allows them to use the term, or they just use it, one or the other.
One of the two.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, well, cheers, gentlemen. Good to see you again.
Cheers.
So we don't review it till after the show is done, though, for anybody watching. The review comes afterwards. And check out Cranky Old Men Drinking Beer. You can Google it. There'll be a link below if you want to see it. We make money every time we say it. So, we just made money again.
And we're tracking it. I think that's twice this show already. So I think it's great.
COMDB.
Yeah, we get paid for that as well.
Oh, you get paid for that too?
I think so. It's like a half rate or something. That's going to
So if you call me a cranky old man and
drinking
I'm drinking beer, do you get paid for that?
If we call you a cranky old man drinking beer, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Whew. You don't get paid for that, do you?
Well, it's the phrase. If it's a copyrighted phrase, we've said the copyrighted phrase, we get paid as per the agreement. Yeah.
Well, Roy's seen the contract, so it should be all in there.
We will show people the contract one day. It is.
It's one of the most complex contracts. I've been in this business for 45 years. One of the most complex contracts I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, you've done like the mining contracts. This thing blows everything out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Well, yeah, and it's making us rich. So, Rory, what are your topics today? What are you focusing on other than quote Cardi B quotes?
Was that to Roy or to Rory?
Rory, Mr. Bamford.
Oh, okay. Cool. One day I'm gonna get those, but I've just been. It's almost been like a self-exercise with investing, because right now you've got all-time highs and like all these stocks, and people love to pile in, drive prices up, like in the popular. Like AI was has been a big thing this year. So it's kind of still a phenomenon that it's very interesting watching, is that as stuff climbs higher in the finance markets, that's when people want to basically pour in, buy at all-time highs, don't really do any due diligence, don't really look at the valuations. It's just like, this is popular, Wall Street Journal's talking about it, let's buy it. And when the retail market, there's obviously the investor market, which owns these giant swaths of these companies. But when that retail market comes in, you see it drive a lot of growth in these companies. I use an example. Like, you might have something that's 100 times sales. It might go to 200 times sales. Just massive bubbles. Like, as an example, if I'm buying a retail company, I'll look at it. I'll start following it. I'm like, oh, it's getting close to 1-to-1 price to sales. Because that way I know as it climbs, it should grow over time with the retail sales if it grows. And it's still fascinating to me that in so many areas, like if there's a discount on a car, if you're buying something and you're going to get 50% off, people love that. But when it comes to finance, they don't. They want, and it's probably the due diligence part of it, but it's still a fascinating thing. Like I remember back in March 2020, obviously, there was people just dumping like these companies that are like phenomenal companies. So when they're dumping those companies at like all-time lows, or some of them close to all-time lows, and I'm sitting there basically buying as much as I can get, you're kind of looking for those opportunities. But I think that's where the due diligence part of it is if I've been following a company for 10 years, the retail market isn't. Most people, they don't have that time. They've got families, they're running around people to sports, and they got all this stuff going on. And so it's talked about, like all the great investors always talk about it. And it's kind of like when there's blood in the streets, that's when you're wanting to get into those companies, but you have to have done that due diligence beforehand. It's one of the questions I would have to both of you, and this is kind of like off the cuff, but like a regular investor / saver, how do you plan for those peaks and valleys in the markets? I obviously have opinions on that and like what I do, but I'm just curious on like what your perspectives would be on that if you are going to look at buying into a public company.
I think, if you talk to a financial advisor, and the first thing they'll ask is they want to get your risk profile, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is important. You have to, know yourself is one of the themes of leadership, but you do have to understand what you're willing to risk and what you're not, because investing in the market, there's always risk involved. And, do you want to preserve your what you've earned and go to a GIC or something very safe? Or, are you looking to double your money? Is it a short-term or a long-term investment? That's probably the biggest question, because if you're just trying to flip it, then you watch the market, you watch the ups and downs, it's all about timing. If you're looking long-term, then it's all about that research, picking the right group, looking ahead. But the question I had for you, Rory, we talk about retail. In the mining industry, most of the investors are institutional, I would think.
Yeah, they are.
Whereas there's other stocks, very popular stocks, which are attractive to individuals and which are retail. And I get the feeling that retail is more about short-term gains. And if you're looking at long-term, you go institutional and you look at diversified portfolio. I'm saying all these words I don't understand, but you do.
What you said about the like institutional, that's a lot of times like the banks, the investment management houses, and of course a lot of them actually don't beat like the overall market. Like you're better off to just, for the most part, like a lot of people are better off just to buy an S&P 500 index fund. That's low cost, but that can be just a really good, safe way to make kind of your 8 to 12% based on what the S&P 500 does. Top 500 companies in the USA, they're massive. You're getting exposure to all those big companies. But you are right, Roy. Like one thing that was fascinating, like you brought up gold mining. So gold went to all-time highs, and then you start seeing everybody, like if you go on to like social media, all of a sudden people are talking about gold and gold miners, and you're like, this is all-time highs. Why would you even be looking at this right now? It's coming back. Like it's not going to stay at those levels. The actual gold miners get as much out as you can.
Yeah, but you know what? Your comment about social media is interesting, because whatever the long-term trends say, if gold is at 2,500 an ounce, for example, somebody out there is always saying it's going to go to 5,000.
Yes.
And that won't be the analysts and that won't be the majority, but that catches your eye. And if you're not risk adverse and, 2,500 an ounce is going to go to 5,000, and, You get a certain investor that might be interested in that.
When it comes to balancing the growing demand on your grid with the growing need for more responsible, sustainable energy production and generation, you need the right partner. A partner who delivers long-standing grid expertise from a team dedicated to your unique needs, and one who supports that team with innovations designed for the future needs of your grid, while being rooted in proven electrification excellence. ABB is that partner, offering solutions that meet technical requirements, regulatory compliance, and recognize the need for sustainability in your business operations, as well as in the lives of the surrounding communities. Solutions that expertly blend physical services and solutions with next-level digitization. Solutions that enable safer, smarter, more sustainable operations. ABB is the name to trust to help modernize your grid. Learn more at abb.com/ca. Attention builders, we've got everything you need to know about the grit and grind of the construction world in one show. The Construction Show is where you can share your expert techniques and strategies to help keep the crew strong and construction sites secure. From foundational tips, industry trends, safety strategies to advanced equipment and machinery. Be part of the voice of construction. Book your episode and showcase your company to millions worldwide. Visit Crownsmen.com.
Rory, I was wondering though that because Roy's talking about long term or short term, and it's something I'd never thought about, is because we always talk more in long term.
Yes.
But if something's on the rise, if a Tesla or an AI system or whatever it is on the rise, there are times if you're playing that short-term game, you can say, okay, well, it's trending up and people pile in. I guess people probably do make pretty good money sometimes on that quick flip if they're buying it. And then if you're a retail investor, it's climbing up. That would be a case for if you are actually thinking short-term.
If you're thinking short-term and you're getting into more like day trading,
I'm not talking exactly. I want to clarify. Not exactly day trading. I'm saying more like there's a trend. There's a trend. So you ride the trend for, let's say, a couple weeks.
Right.
So I've got a friend of mine that does that, Jerrod, and he'll buy a share at $13 a share, and then with a $19 sell, and a $17 buyback. He's playing the the cyclical nature of the market, let alone a commodity. So he makes so much money buying at 13, selling at 19, waits for the stock to go back down to 17 or 16. Analysts are saying it's got a target of 26. So it's not exactly day trading, but it is flipping stock. It's not investing for 3 or 4 years and getting dividends. So
is he doing that for a living?
No. Oh. All my friends are retired, except for you two guys.
He's old, Rory.
but that is
Rude.
that's one
Sorry.
that is one area. So that is it's not exactly day trading. It's more like watching the trends. People do. I don't know anything about like that part of it, but like the investment houses, they see the order books coming in, right? They see how many shares are being bought, how many are being sold. I always find it fascinating when I'm buying something at like 5-year low, as an example. I'm buying what somebody's selling, and I can see based on like what that stock has done, that person I'm buying from, they're probably taking a 90% bath on those shares.
That
is crazy.
Like that's the thing. If you've got a strategy, like a short-term strategy that you're doing, like what Roy's friend is doing, that's someone they know what they're actually doing with it.
And they might be only playing with a certain amount of their portfolio.
Exactly. Yeah, they've got their S&P 500.
Munger said about it, like obviously like going to a casino, stupid. The only game you can actually like play with any sort, like blackjack and poker, the only two games in a casino that you can actually win. Munger said take a percentage of your portfolio if you want to and allocate that to basically bets.
It does, just kind of going right back to the original thing though. It is that psychology that people have though about this buying high. It's like if someone's throwing baskets and they keep sinking them, I think there was a movie that portrayed that, right? The Big Short or something.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's a real thing where you think, oh, this guy's sinking all these baskets.
He'll keep making them.
So the bets start coming in. Well, that's the time to stop betting. But that's the human instinct for whatever reason. And it's so interesting what you're saying. Yeah. people want a discount in every other area,
Yeah.
but they
I mean,
don't do that
Rory,
with
someone
finance.
that's selling that stock that you're buying is thinking that it's going to keep going lower,
Yeah.
right?
even though like the trend line, like typically the best I've done on individual companies, and what I do, people would class as high risk, but it's actually not, because I will only pick about 8 to 12 companies at a time, not including ETFs. You can literally buy those and forget about those. Those don't really matter to me, but the actual individual companies, they've done studies on them. And when you hold a basket of smaller companies, because you can keep track of them, you can read all the quarterly reports, read all the annual reports.
So you're holding
in
8 to
between
12
8 companies.
but you're not buying at any given time. You're not buying in 8.
No.
Okay, yeah.
No, just holding. Just hold. Like, I might buy if there's a big drop at some point, I might buy some more.
So 1 or 2 a
But-
year kind of thing.
Exactly. But what's interesting about that is they've done models, and that is actually how you have the best chance of beating the overall market, which is, I base it on the S&P 500. The lower the amount, because if you start increasing the amount, you're more likely just to kind of follow the trend. So if you have 50 or 100 companies, and that's where the mutual funds will get you, is they're flipping these companies all the time, because they get those management fees, and then what percentage of the companies they've sold per year. So if there's a 50% turnover, that means they're only holding 50% of their companies in that mutual fund for a year or more. The ones with the most turnover typically do the worst, but they charge the most fees because they're actively managed, and people just get obliterated on them.
Well, I was looking at their benefits package of buying in, and so I went and looked at some of the companies, and I'm not an expert investor, certainly don't pretend to be, but even with my very limited knowledge, I looked through their sort of portfolio, and it was terrible.
Oof,
like there was some high end like investments, and then a whole bunch of other stuff they were not good companies. They just weren't good companies.
Again, the Big Short movie was really good because how they used to package it for like the housing.
Yeah,
they do
it's
that with
exactly.
mutual funds.
Yeah.
They put some high end, just enough to get the grade high enough, and then they put in junk. It's literally junk.
Roy, I mean, what do you think of it? We're going pretty hard in the paint on these, but I think it's true. But
yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think I've mentioned before my investment, and I just do it as a hobby. I'm a very risk adverse investor. Mm-hmm. So most of my savings are in GICs, actually. So I'm not the qualified for this conversation, but I do, as a hobby, will invest in one mining company a year.
Right.
And my approach is not the approach of the analysts. I look at the people involved in the company, the executive, the board members, typically people that have been successful and are highly respected in the industry will be part of a successful and highly respected company. And so when you find those people that have hitched their wagon, so to speak, to a company that they see a lot of potential in, well, that's a real driver for me. So, and it's been very successful approach.
To add to that, so analysts, I don't follow any of them. That's no point. But we can get into that at a different point. But what you're saying about the management, so typically in a company, if I'm gonna buy in, so I'm gonna read their CEO reports, like what they're talking about, what the growth opportunity is, and then I start from the bottom of the financial. So I read that and I go to the very bottom. I start reading backwards. What are the lawsuits? What's bad? What's in the very bottom? But what you're saying about the management, what I find fascinating with some of again the best companies I've had is it's exactly right. And I have owned some miners in the past. When that stock craters, which they do in mining from time to time, what you love to see is the insider buying reports come out, and those managers and the boards go full on into those companies. They buy as
because they're getting the discount. Now they're excited and support the company.
This is great. They know exactly what's going on in the business. But if you see a company there's some big names where you'll see a CEO all-time stock market highs, and you see they just dumped 20 billion in stock. You're like, oh, okay. They know it's overvalued too. It's like being in a business, like Roy running cementation, Jerrod and I running Crownsmen. You know what's going on in the day-to-day. Those insider buys are huge key points, and that does follow like what you're saying, Roy. It's really important that you have a board and a CEO that are willing to buy in if the stock has dropped.
Yeah, if you look at any public company, usually there's a minimum shareholding requirement for board members. It's usually mandated.
Yes.
And if you look at whether a board member has met the mandate or not, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And usually it's an RSU, restricted share units, or something that's compensation. But what you should look at is what shares those board members have bought over and above the compensation they get. In other words, with their own money.
Yep.
So if
100%.
you, as a board member, you make so much a year in restricted share units, they might get cash, their options, whatever. But after that minimum is met, are they buying more?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is their own money. That's personal commitment. That shows that they are excited about the company that they're on the board of, and they're willing to commit their own cash to its success. So,
yeah, we probably we either saved someone a whole bunch of money or lost them. We'll see. We'll see when we get the emails.
This is not investment advice. So
Devin's got a giant screen where he's trading on right now. What you buying over there, Devin?
Great.
What you liking?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. All right, Devin's a Bitcoin guy.
There we go. Let's go.
Beauty.
Is Bitcoin high right now?
Oh,
Yeah.
Insanely high.
hey,
Sorry.
I just thought you would
Sorry,
know
I
that.
didn't look.
Devin,
So a
do you
book-
want fun fact? Lindsay and I bought some Bitcoin as a just for fun, like back when it was down at like 12,000, as an example, just for fun. So we bought low.
Believe me, so did I. So
I thought
I'm
Bitcoin
winning from
wasn't.
that, too.
It can't be traded in Canada, right? You have to buy it offshore.
I don't own any Bitcoin. I have no idea what Bitcoin is. I have no idea what anybody's talking about. Thank you.
What just happened?
I don't know. I have
so
no
book-
idea.
I'm like, it's
Rory-
like, I just want to quickly say something. It's like, damn, I'm competing against myself.
So Rory, you should read there's a book called Going Infinite by
Going
Michael
Infinite?
Lewis. So Michael Lewis wrote Moneyball, The Blind Side. He's written some really interesting books. Going Infinite is about the guy that went into Bitcoin, and eventually I think he's serving prison term now in the States. But it's Michael Lewis spent 6 or 8 months with this guy just before it all fell apart. Very interesting book.
Okay.
Well, maybe
I'm
he'll get a
adding that to my
pardon.
notes.
Maybe he'll get a pardon. We'll see. What's his name?
I can't remember the guy's name.
Sam. You're talking about Sam Bankman.
Sam Bankman.
Oh, that snake. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't exact. It was a little beyond Bitcoin though. What he
that
was
wasn't
doing.
Bitcoin.
Oh,
yeah.
That was.
Well, if you,
he already put a book out about him.
Yeah, Going Infinite
Yikes.
is the name of the book, and it's a fascinating story.
Yeah.
And Michael Lewis tells great stories to start with, so it's really entertaining too.
He
He
was
wrote Moneyball?
Yeah, Michael
Okay.
Lewis wrote Moneyball,
Nice.
okay.
Blind Side. Yeah,
Put that book on the reading list.
Yeah.
You know what? This is a pretty big pivot.
Pivot.
Yeah, pivot. We've been working on some of our own sort of pivots, and so I was looking up companies that have made that. I think we've talked about this before, but I just wanted to touch on one company or focus in on them. Rory, do you know Wrigley Gum? Isn't Wrigley? Don't they have a production facility out east somewhere? Don't they have a big manufacturing plant out in Ontario?
they sell it at the 7-Eleven.
No.
I thought you had Circle K out there. I thought 7-Eleven was banned.
There's a big plant. Whatever. Never mind.
Find me a
My
Jerrod.
fault.
Yeah. There's a huge plant out east here.
Thank you. It's massive. It's the biggest ever.
It's
a
in
gum
Sudbury.
manufacturing. It's like Willy Wonka of gum.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I was looking
There
for.
we go.
Okay.
We're just making everything up.
I'm not quite sure where it is. It's out east, though. It's east of you,
It's in Calgary.
Whistler.
This is a waste of time, Devin. I'm wasting my time.
No, Whistler's west.
Oh, is Whistler west?
Yeah. No, wait. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so.
Well,
Anyway,
any credibility we ever had, we're just losing it as we talk more.
This is a 5% disaster.
The 5%
effect that we're
disaster. I
talking
actually want
about.
another one of these.
That's 5% of inspiration
Oh,
that we
right.
needed to go on with 95% of inspiration from Jerrod's first quotes there of Cardi B.
Oh,
Well, I'm known for proving people wrong. Remember that. Whew.
This is a proving ground, that's for sure.
The guests that come on this show in future episodes will be like, what
There's
is
no
happening?
guess. But there's no guess.
No.
Um,
We're lucky after this one if there's sponsors.
Yeah, we get the sponsors going and we come up with this masterpiece.
Maybe Steamworks.
Yeah.
that actually, yes. Yeah, they might go. So Wrigley Gum, and this I find this interesting. We'll see if you do. So he moved. He was Mr. Wrigley was a soap and baking powder salesman. So he started giving off gum as like a little sales tool. So free gum.
Yeah. A lost leader.
Yeah. Not even a lost leader. He wasn't even selling it. He was just giving it away.
That's what a lost leader is.
Well, yeah, but like sometimes the grocery stores will go and they'll sell something at a loss in the front, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so he and Rory, this will sound familiar. Nobody cared about the powder, and everybody loved the gum.
Yeah.
Same thing Em does. We were trying to sell our great marketing strategies. Nobody gave a crap.
So
And
Wrigley double mint?
Wrigley is everything. It's juicy fruit, spearmint, double mint. They own Mars now. They do. I got someone I was getting Gowdy to guess, and she was literally missing zeros on the guess. They did
So-
$950 million in revenue in 2023.
So here's a marketing comment for you, because a very successful marketing campaign for Double Mint were the twins, right? The pretty twin girls, and they've got the gum, and double your pleasure, double your fun was the slogan. I'm serious. This was a very
run that
successful
now.
marketing
Well,
campaign.
here goes my
and,
Google.
and very obviously, the sexual innuendo there. But I mean, maybe in the innocence of the 50s and 60s.
Who are the twins? I don't even know who they were.
Oh, there were a number of twins. They were always girls, but I think later in the program they might have got some guys in there. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. People must love that. Okay, so I see. Oh, so this was, there was like cartoon ones. There was real ones. Okay, great.
Oh yeah, it's a big marketing program.
Well, I think
Smart.
it was Wrigley that said, what was it? He had a big, not forgetting. There's a quote that he had about marketing. He was
Jerrod,
one of those
can
guys.
I jump in
Yeah,
to a fact check?
of course. Yeah.
So this is fun. So on April 28, 2008, Mars Incorporated announced that it would acquire Wrigley for approximately $23 billion. Financing for the transaction was provided by our friends over at Berkshire Hathaway, Goldman
Oh.
Sachs, and J.P. Morgan. Berkshire Hathaway held a minority equity investment in Wrigley until October 2016, when Mars took full control over the company.
Oh, so it's Mars owns them.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I had it backwards. Good.
But what a deal! Like that's a crazy.
And
That's crazy growth.
and this is for something that was a giveaway to a door-to-door salesman, effectively.
That's unreal.
It is like, and now it just, and then I was thinking, so that's the pivot thing about, looking for opportunities and stuff. That gets talked about all day of the week. But then I was thinking, because I was thinking about talking about pivots, but really what it struck me as is that sort of conservative approach that he was actually just took his product, not even thinking it was a product, and just put it out there and let the market take it over, which we've discussed on the show before. Rory, you've read about it and all that sort of stuff. it's actually a really good strategy if you think you have something, rather than, changing the whole approach, getting your team on board, doing all that stuff that it takes to do, all that investment. See if you can throw it out to the market, just see what the response is before, as a free thing, as a test thing, as a tack on thing. Because I think sometimes people do these big changes.
Yeah.
And they really haven't done the market research might even show that it's a good product, but the people on the ground haven't responded yet.
Roy, have you ever had an example, even like with like obviously cementation, massive, but like has there ever been an example where you kind of did like that sort of, in a way it was like an add-on, we call it a loss leader in that, but that it turned into something way beyond what you expected? I'm just interested like in that like engineering world, if that's something that can happen.
But I'm thinking more of a few things that we tried and put out there that just, the market had trouble understanding.
Oh, okay.
So when we look at, in our industry, we look at design build, which I believe is the best way to construct a facility. But if you've got a company that requires a minimum of 3 bidders, and we're the only company that does design build, then they don't put that out for tender. They break that into, they put out the engineering tender first, the construction tender second. So the concept made all kinds of sense to us. Mm-hmm. We'd done it a few times very successfully, but the market never bought into it because it was a pretty substantial change in their procurement strategy.
Because they would do them separately. They always do them separately.
Well, and
or normally
to change to that would mean they would be forcing the market to build design build capacity. Right. So rather than wait for that, they split the bids up. So maybe that's a contrary example to what you're talking about. Is something we tried that, and it did work, and we did it on a number of projects, but it never got the market traction that we thought it would.
Well, we had the thing where we're going to like these events, like obviously Mine Expo, record amount of episodes booked. We had the thing where we asked people, hey, do you want to film at PDAC? And they're like, yes. And then more and more people said yes. So then we're like breaking down the cost. Okay, what's it going to take to get a producer there? Do we get a host there? Do we do HD remote? How do we get like the best gear? So it's amazing to see like now, like in the podcasting world, how much it's like the quality has improved from 2022 to now, almost going into 2025, because that was a lot of what like Jerrod's saying is that pivot. I always heard like kind of listen to the customer will start pulling you into areas. Like Jerrod and I had potential clients telling us, yeah, the packaging isn't, in a way it's not, like when we were talking to them, like it's not as, what was the word?
Like the new one?
No, not the new one. Like just recently, you and I both were having like meetings, and people were saying, it's not. It doesn't get what you're doing. It didn't have the same pizzazz anymore.
Well, the impact, because people have a bigger expectations because they're hearing, a Rogan is getting a presidential candidate on and doing 100 million views. 100 million views.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, what does the Super Bowl get? 100 million for
Super Bowl gets 70 million.
But if people that understand marketing know, I mean, it's the old school advertisement on TV, right? Mm-hmm. You're advertising something on TV, it goes out to everyone. Maybe 10% of the people that see it are interested. Yep. Maybe 3% buy it. And that's what's happening with these 100 million views, right? Yep. They're going to the masses. When you get more focused numbers that are going to people that are interested in your product, then 100 million views of a Super Bowl halftime show versus 70,000 views of a product you're selling that somebody wants, that's what you really want.
So, yeah, I agree, but I will say that is where podcasts have really shone through, in that they're this unique thing in that people like the host, they like the format, they know the sort of general theme of the show. So it's not a sports game where, I mean, people watch an NFL game because there's the party. There's the Super Bowl party. So you just show up and watch, and half the people watch, half the people are talking, and there's like 3 crazy guys that are actually watching the game.
Me.
Yeah. But if you're watching a
Snoop Dogg actually sings.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knew?
Yeah. I don't think anybody knows that yet. But anyway, you watch nobody does that with a podcast. It is very specific. It's not the news coming on at 10 o'clock. It is, you have to go somewhere and hit play and decide you want to watch that thing.
That on demand is crazy now. It's changing everything.
It's on demand, but it's also that you have to put some effort into getting there, right?
Yep.
It's not just, you don't just walk by, turn on the TV, and as you're doing your thing,
No.
like people put in their headphones and they listen to it. That it's a pretty powerful tool that I think now, especially since like elections and that, people are going, oh, this is a real thing now. Like people knew it before.
Yeah.
Now there's a whole other respect given to the platforms.
It's reaching like just the reach now is just dwarfing regular media. Like TV now has just been dwarfed because of like this, what's happening.
But
Like this last election cycle.
and now the other thing that's happening, and you guys know this, and my grandkids know this, is that you don't need to watch a whole show. You can go on TikTok or YouTube or whatever the format is and see the highlights.
Yeah.
So instead of watching a 90-minute episode of Kill Tony, you can watch the best parts of it in a couple minutes.
No.
Or the highlights. but as our attention span has shrunk, it's those clips, because I see clips. I don't watch a whole Joe Rogan show, but I see clips that I think, oh, that's pretty good, but it hasn't got me committed yet to watch the whole show.
Right. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, is that you can have both, right? Like I'm a big Kill Tony fan. I watch every single minute. If I get distracted, I go back a few minutes and watch it.
Really?
Because I just love it. I mean, when comedians, because I'm just terrified to get up and try to do a minute and just have that silence. It's something that actually really scares me. So when I'm watching someone up there bombing, I'm like living
Just
it.
read those quotes. Just get the audience involved.
I saw Tony's apology the other day, which was perfect.
Yeah.
Basically, I can't remember who he offended, but he came back and said, "I'm not apologizing to anyone." And
I apologize. Have you seen this yet, Rory?
He's not apologizing to.
Yeah.
And it was great,
Yeah. Did you see it, Rory?
I haven't watched it.
He gives this whole speech, and at the end he goes, and I would like to say that I apologize to absolutely no one. And but he was smart though when he did that. He said, including my mother, who I also made fun of on the show, but nobody heard that.
No. I think he brought her on the show once too.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
No, Roy, do you know what's interesting is like people say like there's a short attention span, but I think what you're saying is right. Like if I go through my Rogan playlist, there's episodes that I'm committed to watch every single minute. Kill Tony, when I watch it, sometimes I have to skip forward. I can't. Sometimes it's too. Sometimes I just have to get past. I can get to the interview. Watching the bomb I'm not watching anymore. Like I skip 30 seconds.
Hey, Jerrod, Rory watches every single minute of the Scarlett Johansson interview, but some of the other ones he just watches the highlights.
Who's Scarlett Johansson?
You can Google that.
You've already destroyed my Google with I'm Googling double twins now.
I don't even know where that came from. But it's true, but she hasn't been on the show yet, so I can't.
What is this?
I
don't even know the reference.
Anyway.
By the way, Wrigley's has 21 production facilities. So this is a manufacturing topic as well. We don't know where the other one is. Roy, I thought in like Thunder Bay or something, there was a giant Wrigley's facility.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's huge. Here we go again.
It's bigger than the Sleeping Giant. It's beyond comparison.
Jerrod, Wrigley Canada has announced plans to close its Toronto manufacturing plant.
There we go. See? Do you have a picture of it? Can we bring up a picture? Is it massive?
Yeah, it's probably
like
huge.
a mobile trailer. It's gum.
Obviously, not enough gum being chewed in Toronto. Shut her down.
It's not very impressive.
Sorry, Wrigley's.
Whoops.
Well, William Wrigley Jr. said, "Dull times are the very times when you need to advertise. When you need advertising the most." I'm loving my quotes today. This is getting a little embarrassing. But Rory, quick question for you on that. During slow periods, how did you approach that as a business, trying to accelerate things?
It's tricky because during a slow period, our clients don't have the money to spend. So you can advertise all you want, but if there isn't a project out there or people are conserving capital, it's not going to move the dial, right? So you have to be selective. The other thing to recognize is marketing and advertising isn't just about sales. It's about employee morale. Mm-hmm. It's about your position in the community. And you have to be strategic about it. And sometimes that advertising during a slow period is about keeping your people. We go back to the inspired theme, Jerrod, but is keeping your people engaged and inspired.
Yes, keep on going.
Yeah. What she said.
Hey, you never picked. You never made a pick. We don't know if that was Elon or Cardi B.
Yeah.
That was Elon.
That was it.
That's cardiovascular.
Yeah. Oh boy.
That's an interesting one about like so many companies, like they'll do, well, you see it online with like Blitz online marketing, and we actually are learning that in the YouTube space is you can actually get even better results. Like if you're really blanketing like certain areas in certain interests, you'll get more engagement because people might see it in the morning, afternoon, and evening, and it allows they're going to. It's like the rule of 7 in marketing. If you see it 7 times, you're probably then going to at least click and take a look further. Yeah. We're learning that even like with the shows, when you're promoting certain ones. If somebody sees an episode with Orica and they see it in the morning, they're like, I can't watch this now. I'm going to work.
Yeah.
And then they see it at lunch, like, I want to watch it. And then by the evening, they're like, I can actually watch this now.
Yeah.
So we're seeing like it's a big driver in increasing that engagement, which has been interesting for like even Jerrod, like the development of like the new options, bigger reach, so that they have like better results. Obviously.
Yeah, you're not just seeing one person in Ohio is seeing it one time. It's not enough. You got to see it 5, 6, 10, 20 times. It's like those Vessi shoes. They just smoke the market.
That's the brand you were saying.
Yeah, they just push
and that's
it.
another thing
Pepsi
too.
does it.
YouTube.
Pepsi, you won't see Pepsi for a year, and then they just come out with this huge campaign for months, and then they kind of just go away again. Just kind of remind you that they're there.
And YouTube, for people that may or may not know this, what's brilliant with their marketing is you're only paying once you get a certain amount of engagement, so they'll just show it.
Yeah,
a whole bunch.
Yeah,
because YouTube's business. They
want eventually somebody to watch. So okay, I'm going to check this out. But Rory, I think the other thing what you were saying is it's about morale and all that stuff. Yes, but the other big thing with heavy campaigning before when a market's down or an industry's down is that as people start to fall off, the buy low, sell high, as the buy high, people start to pull back their horns. When the industry starts to ramp back up, if you put your name out there, well, guess what? You get first kick of the can.
Yeah, you definitely want to be positioned for when things turn. And it's not, marketing is very, very interesting and very layered, not as simple as people think. And when you talk about promoting your product, that's one thing. But when you talk about positioning, that's a different strategy. And I think that's the thing you want to do when things are down, is you want to position yourself as an industry leader. You want name recognition. When things turn around, who's the first group you call?
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you want to be. And so the marketing strategy is, how do you get there? And you get there from being recognized in our industry, recognized as technical expertise, for being recognized as being able to build relationships, being trustworthy. There's some things there that are, in leadership, we call them soft skills, but how do you portray that to the market? And that's the interesting thing about, I'm fascinated by marketing, and we've done a lot of different things at Cementation, and I've seen things from other groups. And, you really want to think through I'm not promoting Crownsmen here. You really got to think
No, you
through
can
your
promote
marketing
Crownsmen here.
investment and decide what you want to do. And that's very important. And I've seen far too often where people have a marketing budget and say, well, we'll put some ads on the highway, we'll do this, we'll do that, and that'll be our $100,000 for the year or whatever. But it's really important to decide what you want to do with that marketing.
And who you want to go after too. That's I was talking about it with Gowdy, Rory, before we start this, is that you have to be okay if one person drives a little Ford Fiesta, one drives a Ford runner, one drives a G-Wagon, whatever it is. All those companies are selling to a different segment, and they're okay with not selling to the other segment, right? And I think especially unless even the billion-dollar companies, they have an understanding of where their market is, and you don't want to spread out your market. Kind of adding to what you're saying, Roy, if you spread out your dollars, just trying to get everybody. Well, everybody's not buying. Most people are not buying.
The sales data coming in, like working hand in hand with the sales team, you want to have that information coming in. Like, what are you hearing from the customers? What are you hearing? What do they like? What don't they like? Because that can build out what the message is to them.
Yeah.
And that often gets lost. Like, you'll kind of hear, like, you'll talk to people and they'll sometimes make a backhanded comment about like the marketing team. That's not a good thing. You want those like closely knit, because they are obviously like the sales, that sales part of it is basically number one with the marketing. Like, they're kind of hand in hand. Welsh talked about it. Like, you can't have one without the other. So
yeah, and listening to your market too is you have to be careful of not making decisions based. I've seen this before where people make marketing decisions based on negative feedback for people that aren't buying anyway.
Right.
And it seems like, who would make that mistake when you're saying it? But when you get that nasty email, it's like, yes, but that person was never going to go work with you ever. So don't change your whole strategy based on, and now on the internet, someone could post something and it could feel like 1,000 people posted it because you're seeing it out in public.
Well, and the other thing, and maybe it's just me, but I've always been very involved in marketing with the company, because marketing is the image of your company in the public sector and in the market. And when you look at something like Bud Light and the big faux pas there, the Dylan Mullaney incident where the senior people at Bud said that they weren't aware of that marketing program. Mm-hmm. That marketing program cost Bud their leadership role. Bud Light is no longer the number one beer in America. Modelo is. Yeah. And that was solely because of that marketing program. And when the shareholders questioned the executive, they said they weren't aware of that. It was a VP in New York that did that, who is now no longer with the company. But if marketing is about your strategy and it's your image within the market, you better be aware of what you're doing. And I mean, I'm talking to CEOs now, I'm talking to executives. Mm-hmm. It's not something that you give a rubber stamp to and say, you've got this budget, do what you want.
Right. There has to be oversight.
Yeah.
Well, because that's what people see. Most people will know your company from how your product performs and your messaging. Yeah. That's the end user experience of your company. Yeah. Okay, Roy, let's wrap up with the beer review. What did you think?
That's a good segue into beer.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you guys
brought it right in.
I'll let you guys make your comments, and then I'll make mine.
This beer for me was, to me, honestly, it's the kind of beer you get at a bar with chicken wings, and without chicken wings, it's a little bland, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I didn't find it very It's like the most normal beer you could drink. Yeah. So I drink it with
Way
chicken
to
wings.
Bring down the.
Sorry, that's just my
vibe.
honest. That's just my. I like Steamworks. I have their beer that I like, but this one I just didn't find
What's
it
the
that
rating out of 3.5?
out of 3.5. Well, what do you rated out of 20, right, Rory?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I'd
if
say
we
like
can't-
it's good. I'd say it's probably a 13, 14.
quickly, my comment is I can't really taste right now, so I'm going to say it was excellent.
Rory, what is your review?
Well, a full review on it. I'm a note taker, so I'm looking at my notes here, but a bit malty, slightly fizzy on the first taste. It mellowed out. Mild bitters, a nice crisp but very mild finish, and it started to get sweet. So it had that lager sweet plus an ale crisp finish. But all of it's very mild. It was pretty balanced, very easy drinking. I gave it a 15.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. So a couple more. Yeah.
See, Jerrod, that's how we get a sponsor. Thank you, Steamworks.
Well, then I just on them. They're not going to sponsor us.
Yeah, but Jerrod, you don't know anything about beer.
That's right.
So
Steamworks.
they can take that.
They have to go to Cranky Old Men Drinking Beers experts, and they'll be like, "That's who we."
That's where the reviews are, and everybody should go check that out. And I'll leave you with one last quote, everybody, and this is from Cardi B. It says, "I'm an October baby, yes." That is the quote.
Oh, that's for my baby.
There you go.
That's
Dedicated
horrible.
to Rory from Cardi
Thanks.
to you and your family.
Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome.
Yikes.
Halloween and Cardi B. They go
And
hand
Rory's
in
baby.
hand.
That's what that month will be known for from now
Pump.
on.
Oh, dude.
Maybe your nickname was Pumpkin.
Wow. Well, I don't think we're going to get Cardi B on the show. I don't think Steamworks is going to sponsor us. We'll do another review of them when it's my favorite beer by them. Gentlemen, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you, Devin, for getting this all recorded. Good luck with Bitcoin.
Thank you.
Rory, good luck with the mining companies. And Rory, we'll be talking in about 5 minutes.
Talk to you soon, y'all.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please subscribe. We really appreciate your support, and we will see you on the next episode of The Crownsmen Show.